Hey, Professor, and everybody who's going to be seeing this. My name is Chris Rhoda. This is for our physics class. Today I'm doing the 5th lab, which is a lab on latent heat. And this lab was kind of tricky when I was getting it all set up to really kind of figure out what exactly I needed to do with it, but I think I figured it out. So basically, as we go through the procedures and as I follow the instructions here for the lab, what he wants me to do is, I've already got the water in the fridge in the beaker, so I've almost completely completed the freezing the water section as I'm doing this video. But what I'm doing is I filled the test tube up with 1.5 milliliters of water, and I placed that tube inside of the beaker, the medium-sized beaker that we got to keep it upright. After that, I've put it in the freezer. It's been in there for almost an hour now, so I kind of just need to check on it. Once my timer goes off here in just a minute or two, I'm going to take it test tube out of the freezer, and I'm going to see what temperature it is. And once I do that, as it says here, I'm going to record the temperature on the thermometer on table 2, and then which is down here. So I'll put that first temperature that I record right here. I'm sure it's going to be completely frozen, so it's not really going to be much observation here except for it's solid, but I'll fill it out. It says repeat step 6, which is taking the beaker and test tube out of the freezer every 5 minutes for 30 minutes. This was a little confusing part because it sounds like it wants me to put it back in the freezer and then bring it out after 5 more minutes, which would just keep it at the same temperature and nothing would change. So what I think I'm going to do instead is basically once I take it out, I'm just going to leave it out, and and again, and this part says time as in seconds, but the instructions up here say minutes. So I'm assuming that these are supposed to be in minutes. Hopefully I'm not really messing this up as I do this from my understanding of it. But basically at the 5 minute mark here, I'm going to be writing that temperature down and seeing if it's changed. At 10 minutes, I'll do the same thing, 15, 20, 30, and all the way to 30 minutes. I'll write my final temperature for it here, and then what it looks like if it's still frozen or if it's thawed out quite a bit, or, you know, if it's completely melted back to water at room temperature. And then I've actually got my boiling water portion set up and on the stove right now. In fact, you might be able to hear it in the background. But basically, once I finish the frozen part, I'm going to be boiling the water, and I'm going to take temperatures, or just a couple of temperatures. So at 1 minute after it's started boiling, I'm going to record the temperature, and then after another 5 minutes of it boiling, I'm going to put the thermometer into the water again, and I'll boil it again from there. Or I'll check the temperature right there. So there's my pot of water going on the stove. That was my dinner. Just please ignore that. I got it on like medium heat right now. That way it doesn't boil too quickly, because I'm about to take the thermometer out of the freezer, and I didn't want that to start boiling while I'm still doing the time frame, while I'm still trying to get all this, because it won't be ready, and I don't want to break the thermometer by trying to put it from the cold and freezing water side into the boiling water side. So afterwards, yep, so here's my graphs that I'm going to be putting all the answers in, and then obviously the questions for it. So that's going to be how I'm going to do this lab. I hope I'm doing it correctly, and I hope I understood the instructions correctly. And we'll see you next time.